Well, Ron Atkinson sitting up on time here. What about the conditions out there, Ron? What about the problems the players are going to face? The crowd here at the stadium today would estimate around the Jalisco Stadium, but there's still quite a feeling about this one here, Ron.
Yes. 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 Yo no oigo nada. Yes.
And a word on the Irish selection, in particular the choice at the back of McDonald in preference to McClellan.
Well, as you are well aware, you don't need me to tell you, I'm sure, we again, as we had, was it on Sunday night, terrible problems with our sound out of Guadalajara. Peter Brackley was the unfortunate commentator that night for Brazil and Spain, who didn't get a word uttered the whole of the 90 minutes, along with many, many commentators right through the world of television. And as you know, there were enormous repercussions between the European Broadcasting Union and FIFA over this, and it seems the problems are continuing. The Mexicans at the moment just seem unable to cope with the huge demands that are putting upon their communications. So, while the Russian referee looks to get the game started, at least it shouldn't spoil too much your enjoyment of it, I hope, because we can see that the Northern Ireland lads in the white shirts and green shorts are raring to go, and they'll be attacking the goal to our left.
About Guadalajara just at the moment. So away then go Northern Ireland. This first ever international between the two nations. And Northern Ireland have certainly come here in good fettle. Unbeaten in their last 8 internationals. Indeed, the last time they were beaten was by England in Belfast, and that was as long ago as 15 months ago. Majadi, Majer,
Yes.
who will certainly be an important player for Algeria today. Majer, one of their overseas stars. Goes Donaghy now then for Northern Ireland.
In your mouth, please.
Tackle from Majadi.
You have to put your microphone near
It'll
your
be interesting,
mouth.
Ron, to see what formation the Algerians do use. It looks as if they're going to play with just 2 up front. Whiteside, good turn. The first shot of the game, rather ambitious perhaps, but Norman Whiteside showing confidence early on, and I think the Irish cap, Ron, will be most relieved that Norman is in the side. The Algerians, incidentally, have made a surprise in goal. El Labi has been chosen, contrary to reports that we'd had throughout the week. That Drid would be their first choice goalkeeper, but they've made quite a few late changes at the last moment. And they've obviously got to compensate for the loss of Belumi, one of their star players in midfield. This is John O'Neill. Long ball in search of Hamilton, who couldn't out-jump there. Majadi. El Labi, who was certainly, we were told anyway, was the second choice goalkeeper. He's been preferred today to Nasreddin Drid. Now this is Maroc for Algeria, one of their midfield players. Kassi Saeed, a player who's greatly impressed Billy Bingham. Matches that he's seen of Algeria. He saw their match in Switzerland recently. And Kassi Saeed is the player he's warned us to watch out for. This is Assad, one of the survivors from '82. He scored a couple of goals in their 3-2 win over Chile. Good tackle, though, by Donaghy. Plenty of support here for Northern Ireland in Guadalajara. Northern Ireland fans arriving in the last few days, so they can be sure of a good following here. Carucci, the defender who came across. Worthington with the throw, and here now that is done.
Independent TV London Weekend.
Esta es la...
Sammy McElroy. McElroy and McCreary, the two players at the heart of the midfield for Northern Ireland today. Kenny and Worthington wide on the flanks. They'll certainly be looking to Kenny for some early crosses. He wins the head of Whiteside and Hamilton. McDonald, the revelation he's been since coming into the Northern Ireland side, and his form has been such. Billy Bingham has kept it in today, rather than bring back McClellan. Into the area there.
The ball hammered in from that free kick. It definitely took a deflection. A really dream start for Billy Bingham's side, and you can see the looks of joy on the faces of the Irish players, Sammy McElroy and Norman Whiteside. And there the ball, it did cannon in off an Algerian defender. Norman Whiteside, though, takes the credit.
Yes, it's a good start for Northern Ireland, John. It's the ball straight through the middle of the line-up there. Bad line-up, but nevertheless, what's Algeria's misfortune is Northern Ireland's good fortune. It's a lovely start for them.
Well, Norman Whiteside scored 3 goals in the qualifying rounds, but that is perhaps the most crucial goal he's ever scored for his country. And of course, one has to remember, Billy, that Norman Whiteside 4 years ago was the youngest man ever to play in World Cup finals.
Yes, it's astonishing to think that he's still only 21, and here he is, almost a veteran, as it were, of so many games for Manchester United. And indeed, this is his second World Cup. Tremendous record for a young player.
It's going to be interesting now to see how Algeria react to that early setback. That was a vastly experienced side, although of course they did play in Spain 4 years ago. And how nice to see Pat Jennings here. Pat Jennings, who will be 41 in 9 days' time. And how marvellous to think that he's virtually been out of the Football League all season. And here he is playing in a World Cup finals, his 117th cap. That's an international record for a goalkeeper. Now the Algerians making those late changes, and it's obviously a blow to them that Lakhdar Baloumi, a former African Footballer of the Year, is not starting the game. He is on the substitutes bench. And 1 or 2 surprises in the selection made by Rabah Sadani, their manager. But for now, all eyes are on Donaghy. And the Irish, a goal to the good. Jimmy Nicol out on the right-hand touchline. keen to impress in this World Cup, as he's been told that West Bromwich Albion will perhaps no longer require his services next season. Donaghy with the throw. And here's Sammy McIlroy, well known to my co-commentator here, Billy McNeill, who's his manager, of course, at Manchester City. And this time the Algerian defence is equal to it. There's some very experienced players in their defence. When you look at the number of caps that some of them have won, Mahmoud Gouendouz, for example, 119 caps. Kourichi has won 46 caps. And Cassie Said in midfield has a total of 86 caps, so you can see that there are some very experienced players in the Algerian side. There has been this surprise selection by their manager. Good pace there from Majeur. Oh, extraordinary that. The ball bouncing very high indeed, and almost causing a problem for El Hadi Labi. Now, Cassie Said. So Northern Ireland really couldn't have asked for a better start than that. The surprise team in many ways in Spain 4 years ago, of course, when they beat Spain to go through the first round matches. And here they are, a goal up against Algeria. So it seems to me, Billy, that the World Cup brings the best out of the Irish.
It most certainly does, John. To be honest with you, they're a very experienced side, and they continually come up with incredible results. If you look through the qualifying section, it looked as though it was all lost to Northern Ireland, but they came through when few people expected them to.
But for the moment, it's Algeria in possession with Fawzi Mansouri. And McDonald, and now McIlroy for Northern Ireland, bundle off the ball, and that will be a free kick awarded by Mr. Valery Buchenko, the Soviet Union official. His two linesmen today, Andrei Dana from Switzerland and Zoran Petrovic from Yugoslavia. 10 minutes gone, Northern Ireland 1, Algeria 0 here in Guadalajara. Just a promising little move there involving Sammy McIlroy. Algeria looking to come into Irish territory. This is Abdallah Ajadi, who plays for Monaco, France. And the crowd sensing there that there was going to be a free kick to Algeria, giving some of the Irish players a little bit of the Irish won't mind too much about that. A goal in the lead. Norman Whiteside. Ajadi with a free kick floated in, and actually away by little David McCreary, of all people, popping up there. Whiteside, well, doing the sensible thing in the end. There weren't many options open to him then. But really, they couldn't have asked for a more encouraging start than this.
No, it's a lovely start for them, John. Obviously, one of the problems of the World Cup, when you're playing nations like Algeria, although we don't reckon very much of them, we've seen yesterday with Morocco's performance against Poland, their forces. And I think you can't afford to take them casually. Northern Ireland have got exactly the start they wanted. They've got a good composed side. They'll hold on to the lead, I'm quite sure of that.
And the searing heat of Guadalajara means that everybody in the stadium here is in their shirt sleeves. And the Irish supporters who've travelled, it's amazing to me how they managed to do it, but there are around about 500 or 600 of them here, and they're making their presence well felt. And they certainly have plenty to sing about at the moment. Maroc. And Maroc involved again. Nice little bit of interplay there with Mager, who started out on the right-hand side, but it's all going to come to nothing. So that ball is played back to Pat Jennings. A free kick has been given. Just picking himself up is Kassi Said, who made his international debut in 1980 but missed out in Spain. He didn't win selection then, but he has been just about a fixture in the side ever since. So the Irish having to defend here with Algeria, given their turn to see what they can do from a free kick. Remember, the Irish took their lead from a Norman Whiteside free kick, which was certainly better orchestrated than that one by Algeria. And a rather lazy ball forward there, causing no problems whatsoever for the Irish defence. And obviously they'll be able to slow the game down, but bearing in mind the result in the previous game in the group, in which Brazil beat Spain, the Northern Ireland boys will be very happy at the moment. I think many people see this as the game which might well provide a third team going through to the last 16. Northern Ireland having that early advantage will be absolutely delighted. Billy Hamilton going up there. Won't get the touch, but Sammy McElroy will keep the ball in play. And inside the area was Stephen Penny, and the Irish have a corner. And the corner taken here by Penny, so a chance for Ireland to get a second. Maybe the ball came right across the area and it's missed off the line. The first header came in from Billy Hamilton, cleared off the line, but that was a great opportunity for Northern Ireland to go 2 ahead. 15 minutes gone, but they're in the lead.
Yes, a tremendous performance so far, John. Northern Ireland have obviously enhanced with the confidence of that first goal, and they're not going to give up easy. They've got tremendous presence of height inside the opponent's box, and I would think at set pieces and corner kicks they could be very dangerous.
And if people back home are wondering why they're hearing my voice and why coverage is rather different to what they would normally expect, we do have problems at the moment with the line from Guadalajara, and I'm sitting in a studio in Mexico City, and we're trying to bring you the best coverage possible while looking at the pictures from Guadalajara, but we have no sound from the stadium there at the moment. So Algeria now moving inside the Irish half. This is Salah Assad. And Assad has gone to take that return ball, and I think he's just about kept it in play, but now he's knocked it out, and that should be a goal kick. Indeed it is. So a good long goal kick from Pat Jennings there. Whiteside going up, but the whistle already gone, as I'm sure you heard that. We're hearing all sorts of noises, I can tell you at the moment. But let's not worry about that. This is Kassi Said on the ball for Algeria. A goal down. Algeria, by the way, the first African nation ever to qualify for successive World Cup finals. I surprised a lot of people in Spain 4 years ago. Particularly, of course, when they defeated West Germany. And there was tremendous sympathy for them when they went out, when the Germans and the Austrians managed to contrive a result which saw them both through to the next round. And Billy Bingham has just about been able to select from his entire squad. Jimmy Quinn has had a foot injury, tendon trouble. A chance for a second, Whiteside! So close. Billy Hamilton just nudging the ball through to him. Billy McNeill, the manager of Manchester City, sitting with me. Norman Whiteside has got one. He might well have got another.
Well, that's right. That could have been the second goal for Northern Ireland. Lovely start to them. You know, the thoughts crossed my mind that Billy Hamilton up front with Norman Whiteside, he's going to cause, those two are going to cause an awful lot of problems to that Algerian back four, however experienced they might be, John.
And it is encouraging that the Irish have created those opportunities in these early stages of the game. So many of the World Cup matches so far have been tight and defensive. And the other thing that has to be said at the moment, I think, is that the Irish seem to have adapted pretty well to the conditions.
Yes, it's lovely sitting here in the studio looking at all that good weather. We feel we're interpreting some of it here in Mexico City, John, but you know, the Irish, because they've acclimatised well, they've got the benefit of the early goal, they're a very experienced side, they don't give up easily, and they produce some astonishing results. It looks like this might be another one.
Yes, Mexico is a strange old place. While the sun beats down in Guadalajara, there's plenty of rain in Mexico City. And certainly Algeria should find these conditions very much to their liking. Here's Donaghy. And free kick. Given once more against Billy Hamilton. And it's so good to see Billy Hamilton back in action. He virtually missed the entire Football League season last year. Scored just 2 goals, one right at the start and one right at the finish. And otherwise it was a wasted season for him because of that terrible injury he had. And in fact, this is Billy Hamilton's first cap since 1984 when he played against Spain. But such an important player to the Irish with his physical presence. And of course, he was one of the stars of their campaign in Spain 4 years ago. That's nice play. Oh, that's brilliant play, in fact. And Assad taking the return. Real danger here for the Irish. And what good covering by Alan MacDonald. The Queen's Park Rangers centre-back getting across there. And he's certainly made a good start to his international career.
He's been a real find for the Irish. He's had a tremendous season at QPR, and at international level he's acclimatised very, very well indeed.
But Algeria have a corner, left-footed, and it flew beyond everybody. And one of the problems out here in Mexico has been judging the pace of the ball. Again, it's drifted back inside the area. They're not a very tall side, the Algerians, though. Apart from a certain defender who is 6'3", that's Kurichi. This is Majer, good skillful player, Rabat Majer. He plays for FC Porto, and that's going to be safe enough for Northern Ireland. The one thing, though, they must beware of one or two of these Algerian front players, especially Majer, who's very experienced.
Well, that's right. We saw a nice little interchange, and all of a sudden Assad was tearing down into that Irish box. They're typical of what we've seen of the African nations. They play a lot of 1-2s, nice quick players. It's important that Northern Ireland don't relax at all.
Well, Pat Jennings has lost nothing with his right boot. Good long kick from him. But again, the Russian referee blows his whistle. And there's going to be a free kick to the Algerian side, which has already been taken. Majer asking his defender Mejadi to take things up a little bit further. Mejadi, by the way, preferred here to the regular right back Sadmi. As we mentioned earlier, there have been 1 or 2 surprises in the Algerian selection. They've been playing behind closed doors for most of the time here in Mexico. And they've not had good results in the build-up matches either. So the feeling is that they might not be as strong as they were in Germany 4 years ago, in Spain 4 years ago. Again, they're building from the back. This time with Cassie Said, who's very strong on the ball. He's certainly impressed Billy Bingham. Good little ball through as well here for Zidane, and the cross coming in. And that was a nice move by the Algerians, and it all stemmed from the pace of Cassie Said.
This is the thing the Irish are going to have to watch. The Algerians look as though they've got some very quick players up front. Nice little interchanger, nice little 1-2, and all of a sudden they're in behind. Very dangerous situation. Well tidied up, well cleared up. I think it was Maldonado that cleared that one up.
He certainly did well to get back.
Timed interception.
The Algerian player who's stretched out there is Marzo, who used to play for the Racing Club of Paris before his move to FC Porto. He's winning his 86th cap today. My bet is he'll be back on his feet in a moment or two. And as you can see, the Irish do have a player laid out as well. There has been a rule introduced here, it is indeed Maldonado, that stretchers should be brought on to get players off the pitch as quickly as possible, even if they're not badly injured. But that's not happening here. There does seem to be some concern in the Algerian ranks about Marzo. I'll tell you one person who'll be a little bit disturbed, and that is his sister, who's a television announcer in Algeria. I wonder if she's working today. Maldonado has obviously got a cut on the head and is leaving the pitch.
Yes, I think it's been an obvious clash of heads, and you can see the blood on the picture there, so it looks quite a nasty one.
And Guindouze there is acting as masseur as well, I think, and baggage man. And a little bit of consternation down on the bench. At the end of all this, Algeria will have a corner, but with Maldonado off the pitch, an anxious moment. So there you see a very good close-up, really, of what happened. An obvious clash of heads between Marzo and Maldonado, who's the most accomplished defender. Billy Bingham calls him the Rolls-Royce of the Northern Ireland side. And you can see that Marzo is in some discomfort as well. The corner is taken, flat, low, and miskicked by Kurici. So I wonder who'll miss a player the most. And I wonder too whether we'll have any substitutions.
Well, looking at things, Ireland are obviously having a player or two limber up on the bench there, John. I think they'll hold off. It looks like a cut in the head, but there he is coming back on now.
Yes, there was just a brief shot of Paul Ramsey, the Leicester City full-back, who would have been the obvious deputy for Maldonado. But anyway, Donaghy is back in the action. And straight away involved in the play. And Rashid Harkouk, I can tell you, is limbering up on the touchline as well. So perhaps Algeria are going to introduce the Notts County man in place of Marzo. And safely worked back to El Labi this time. This is Medjadi. Cassie Said. And a reminder that Northern Ireland are leading here in Guadalajara by a 0-0. An early strike by Norman Whiteside, who's been playing up front alongside Billy Hamilton. The free kick, which was deflected off the Algerian wall, and it was just the tonic that Northern Ireland wanted. These two countries have never met previously. And Algeria's recent results have been disappointing. They've been beaten by the Cameroons and by Switzerland in warm-up games before coming here. And they favour the slow, clinical approach at the moment, but Assad can break quickly, surrounded by white shirts. There has just been the odd occasion where the Irish defence has looked in a spotted bother against the pace of the Algerians up front. But against Northern Ireland themselves have created a couple of good chances. Still no sign of whether Marzo is coming back on the pitch or whether Harkouk is to replace him. Ben Mabrouk. And now Guinduz, who's actually won 119 caps for his country. Well, that is what they call experience. And talking of that, there's Pat Jennings. You probably just caught a sight of the crowd there, who've got this marvellously spectacular rhythm going. They all leap up in the air, a section of the stand at a time. Think about it, the Mexicans do enjoy their football. Donaghy, who doesn't appear to be too affected by that cut on the head. Nicely done, Sammy McIlroy. He finds Whiteside on that left touchline. That was a little bit behind Stephen Penny, but he's done well to retrieve the ball. Lost it now, though. And Billy McNeill, it seems to me that Billy Bingham has packed his midfield.
Well, they're good at packing the defence, just they've had some good results, very good defensively, John. At the moment, they've lost just a little bit of touch in midfield. The Algerians have just got a little bit of control there, and with those quick lads up front, it just could cause a little bit of a problem.
And it looks as though Rashid Harkouk is about to enter the fray. We saw him just standing on the touchline. So Marzo is not going to return to the game. That's a bit of a blow for Algeria. Here they are now with Cassie Said. Very elegant on the ball. Trying to work things away down that left-hand side. Said eventually plays the ball there, but they're having to come back inside with Cassie Said again. Half an hour gone. Algeria 0, Northern Ireland 1 in Guadalajara. The other match already played in this group, of course. Brazil beat Spain in those controversial circumstances by a 0-0. Things then looking good for Northern Ireland at the moment. This is Assad. Quite content just to play the ball around and wait for an opening. The shot charged down and eventually rolled back to Pat Jennings. It really is astonishing to think, Billy, that Pat Jennings made his Northern Ireland debut in 1964 in the same match that George Best made his debut.
It's lovely to think of Pat still playing. It's a lovely accolade to him and his attitude to his profession. He's kept himself in good order, and you can see the benefit of it.
Hamilton just slipping around a little bit there. The ball eventually worked back. It was Nigel Worthington who played it inside to Donaghy. And nicely away by the big man in defence, Kurici, all 6'3" of him. Here's McDonald. He looks very composed. Alan McDonald made a very good debut against Romania last year, and of course scored against Denmark recently. And it's nice to see Nigel Worthington playing, because he had a very, very bad leg injury. And he missed the end of the season with Sheffield Wednesday. If you feel you can hear a little bit of applause and cheering in the background, although you're not seeing the picture, that is because Marzo is being led away to the comfort of the dressing room, which will give Rashid Harkouk the opportunity to come onto the pitch. There is Marzo. Shame to see a player of that stature go off, but nice to see a player of this stature come on. And he's certainly one player who'll know plenty about the Irish, and especially, of course, about Nigel Worthington. They used to play together at Notts County. Yes,
it's astonishing to think that an Englishman player's come out for Algeria in the World Cup. On his day, he can be a very useful player. Let's hope for Northern Ireland's sake it's not his day.
Well, it's not Algeria's day at the moment. That is Cassis Said, who is down on the ground. Although it says Kurichi there, they're having one or two problems at the moment. McNeill. Trying to work things out with David McCreary. The free kick again going against Algeria. And I think a little bit of a complaint going on from Abdelhamid Ben Mabrouk. That one really rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Well, Northern Ireland have already scored from one free kick. El Hadi Labi is only too aware of that. This time, though, they've played the ball wide to the right to Stephen Penny. And no danger this time. Well, this is quite astonishing, the number of stoppages due to injuries. And this time, the man down on the ground is Mansouri. I don't think that's quite Paul Ramsey. Not only is the colour of the shirt different, the country is different. That is definitely Mansouri, the man who is down. So with one man already off, one man lying prostrate, these are not happy days for Algeria.
No, it's difficult times for them. Northern Ireland have started the game well, John. They've got the benefit of that early goal and they've looked confident. Only once have we really seen Algeria get behind them. Other than that, Northern Ireland seem very composed, look calm in their approach in midfield, and they look very, very determined at the back.
So important, of course, for every country to win its first game in the World Cup.
I think in this particular section it is. Having seen Brazil win the first game, it was very important for Northern Ireland to win this one. But it is very important for Northern Ireland to win this one.
The referee is reaching for his yellow card. And he's also not too pleased, I don't think, about the way some of the Algerians are protesting. And it looks to me as though it's Mansouri who has been booked. He was the player who went down in that challenge, and he's been booked as well for his pains. So a booking for Fawzi Mansouri. Another of those experienced Algerian players. He was brought back into the international side recently. They don't seem to have such long delays whenever free kicks are awarded, one way or another. And the Soviet referee is going to have to take a pretty firm grip on this match, Mr. Buchenko. So let's see what Northern Ireland can do here. They lead 1-0. A second goal before half-time would do very nicely, thank you. Labi trying to organise that wall in front of him. And Norman Whiteside might well take another crack, and this time it does come cannoning back off the wall. As you see, plenty of time for John O'Neill to pick out a colleague. Unfortunately, when he did so, that man was offside.
Yes, you know, when you look at those front two players for Northern Ireland, it really is a fearsome sight. And Northern Ireland, they've got this young lad, Steve Penny, who can go down that wing. If he can get down there, throw in a few crosses, I'm quite sure Billy Hamilton and Norman Whiteside are going to really test his defence.
Were you surprised that Norman Whiteside was asked to play up front, Billy?
No, I think Norman's such an adaptable player, and he can play well there. He's played long enough there and been a very, very good centre forward.
Still only 21 years of age as well. There's another young man with a big future ahead of him, Alan MacDonald of Queen's Park Rangers. I think it would be fair to say that this could well be Pat Jennings' last World Cup. It's remarkable that here he is at the age of 40, almost 41. And of course, the World Cup has a history of great goalkeepers who've carried on until they were certainly veterans. Dino Zoff, one remembers, 4 years ago. And Northern Ireland are closing the men down very well indeed. The Algerians have not been given much space. Assad won't need an invitation either. It looked as though he was going to try and tee himself up. Then David McCreary took the ball away from him. Although he's given it away this time. Important for Ireland not to concede a goal in these closing moments of the first half. As a first touch, I think, for Rashid Harkouk. Not a successful one. Jimmy Nicol. And another free kick going Northern Ireland's way. And, oh, there's a bit of hoo-ha going on there. And the referee, as I said a moment ago, is going to have to get strong here, because there could be trouble for some of these players, especially, I think, on the Algerian side at the moment, the way things are happening. The free kick had already been given to Northern Ireland, and that was all rather unnecessary.
That was an astonishing incident, John. I felt quite convinced that the Algerian player came across and not struck the Irish player, but certainly shoved them. I think the referee is going to have to take a very, very strong line indeed with these players.
The two Macs, McElroy and McCreary, sorting things out. McElroy eventually floating it towards the edge of the penalty area, and it's away as far as Harkouk, and now Cassie Said over the halfway line. And I think he got caught in two minds there. He wasn't sure whether to play the ball wide to the left. In the end, he played it straight to an Irish boot. And this time the referee's decision is in the favour of Algeria. So midway inside the Northern Ireland half. Again, the build-up slow and deliberate. And it's not often we've seen the ball out there on that left flank, where Salah Assad is at the moment. And here is Assad. That was a better pass. Now he's got the chance to put in a telling cross here. Couldn't do so, though. So they ask him to do it again and do a little better this time, perhaps. Would you believe it? He's managed to find the same Irish defender. So, Penny. Very good player on the ball, Stephen Penny. He's done a good job for Brighton and Hove Albion. McDonald, and now O'Donoghue taking things up. Seems to have made a total recovery from that clash of heads that he had with Majeur, who sadly has had to leave the field. And the Irish are moving around pretty nimbly, and McCreary has done well there. Almost got into a shooting position, and there was a nice little bit of interplay then.
At times, both Sammy McElroy and McCreary, David McCreary, have got in there nice 1-2s.
But here's Assad. A thunderous left foot shot. It was way off the target in the end, but it just showed that Ireland mustn't be complacent. Assad is not only pacey, he's got a good shot on him as well. And he got round the back of the Irish defence that time.
He's very quick, John, and he's got a nice touch. I'm not entirely sure that he knows exactly when to deliver that final pass.
Northern Ireland 1, Algeria 0. Norman Whiteside, the goal scorer. So we're very much in the closing stages of this half. And here's David McCreary of Newcastle United, and he's going to win a free kick. Cassie Said almost grabs him by the throat. And the referee is now pushing Sammy McElroy away as he was trying to get up. And it's all getting a little bit scruffy out there.
Yes, it's very untidy at the moment. The referee, it was an astonishing reaction by the referee. But he's really got to take a firm hand, because if he lets these Algerian players away with this type of action, then he's going to have serious consequences late in the match.
So again, El Labi tries to protect his goal and organise his defence. This time the ball has drifted aimlessly out for a throw-in. Zoran Petrovic of Yugoslavia gets his name on the screen because he's the Yugoslavian linesman there. Majadi, one of several players who plays in France. He's with Monaco, a very, very good French club side. Well, he actually plays under a different name, would you believe, in France, Legion. That's a good, useful ball. Harkouk trying to get round the back of McDonald, who defended very well there. And that, the most dangerous through ball we've seen in the match.
It was a good pass, but equally it was good defending by the big lad McDonald. Been a tremendous find for Northern Ireland.
Certainly has. When you think he only made his debut back in October, he's won his place well, and he's keeping John McClellan out of this side today. Pat Jennings just looking to see where the best option is. It's provided for him by Nigel Worthington. And sensibly now, Northern Ireland slowing things down. You'll hear a half-time whistle very shortly. Although, of course, there has been a little bit of stoppage time in this first half, with the injury to Majer and Donaghy first of all, and then another injury shortly after that. And certainly one feels that Northern Ireland have reaped the benefits here of their altitude training. They've looked very fit and controlled in this first half, and able to handle all the conditions, and it's certainly very hot in Guadalajara. 45 minutes up on the clock. Important now for Northern Ireland, though, to keep their composure in these closing seconds, not give anything away. And there's danger here with Ben Marbrook, and that will be a corner kick. The referee signalling for the corner to be taken. And now it is of paramount importance that Northern Ireland don't concede something here. Assad taking the short one. Perhaps they're not aware of just how close the half-time whistle is. The referee just having a quick look at his watch there, deciding there's still time for something to happen in this half. And the cross to the far post will be too far for Maroc. Again, the referee looks at his watch. And again, he decides to let play continue. So a considerable amount of stoppage time being added on here. But indeed now, Mr. Buchenko does blow for the end of the first half, and a very satisfactory half indeed for Northern Ireland. They